Hi, grand evening, and I hope everyone is enjoying today. And I just want to take a few seconds to talk to you about uh, the past, the history of African Americans uh, in today's time, but not exactly right today, back in the 60s and 70s, and kind of help some people, understand where we come from and where we are and where we should be trying to go. I want some people to be aware that um, in the 60s, 70s, and somewhat 80s as well, we had some situations where there were jobs, and in my hometown we had Chicago Meal, and I've told you all this before. A few of you, a few notes on it rather, and we had Doughboys, we had Bobby Brooks. We had, and the Bobby Brooks was where they made clothes. In case some of you are not familiar with it, because I know in today's time things are so different from what they used to be. But some of the females as well as men had some of these jobs, especially the ones at Chicago Mills. They did lumber. They had hauled lumber. I don't know all about it, but I'm sure it will be a great history one of these days for us to research on exactly what all they did at Chicago Mills. And we had let's see, we had Chicago Mill, as I said. We had Doughboys, and we had Moha Tire Company. Now that Moha Tire Company was where they. I'm trying to get my phone lined up correctly. It's kind of tough to do this, you know, because I'm doing setting it a little different. I'm trying to set it to get it more focus. I'd like to get the camera that does more focusing. But anyways, as I said, we had. I think I like it better where I had it, even though, yeah, that's a little better focus there. I think. I don't know. Okay. Sorry. Um, the thing of it is that some people seem to think that we have a war about the men and the women, and and I kind of want everyone to understand that it doesn't matter what race you are, it doesn't matter what sex you are, it doesn't matter what um in sex gender is what I mean. When it comes to learning and understanding and being understanding how the family function should be. Most of us come from dysfunctional families. I mean, I know that's something horrible to say. I know it's not nice. It's like somebody trying to own up to depression. Only the real sick folks own up to depression, because we can be depressed as hell and don't want nobody to know. Oh, no, 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 I'm good, No, no depression. You claim depression, that's just like signing a death warrant for yourself. Oh hell, she was depressed. She was crazy anyway. He ain't got good sense, So whatever, So you never want to claim depression, as some people say, as the prisoners say. A lot of times they never want to claim a crime that they've done. Confessing. Oh yes, I did it. No, most of the time certain things you don't never want to ever want to claim. But as I was saying, the thing of it is, if you don't know something, you are unconscious. A lot of people just don't seem to get this. And I read this wonderful book once that made me so aware of everything we think somebody else is guilty of. We, most of the time, is double guilty of it. If we think somebody has been guilty of telling a lie, now we might not be a perpetual liar or the king of lies or the queen of lies, but we've all told a little lie. There's a blues song say, The preacher lied a little, the mama lied a little, daddy lied a little, and teacher lied a little. Everybody lied a little. Whether they was embellishing or whether they was telling a story. You know what I'm saying? But let me try to not get too far from my point, and that is that if people don't know something, they have to get to the place where they become conscious. Folks only know what they have been taught. Now, here's the situation. Back in the 60s when we were coming up, well, and I can just use my mother for an example, which I've always done, and I'm not just trying to make it look like that, my family was this or my family was that. I'm just giving you an idea of what some people go through with children, and this may help somebody because it may help you understand that if you don't have a structure, and many times we did not have structures, all we had was pay the bills, rice, beans, cornbread, some fish, every now and then chicken. Everybody get chicken more every now and then, even if it had to be Christmas time. But we got chicken sometimes. But mostly it was rice, cornbread, butter, potatoes, beans, and greens. And that took a lot of work for people to pick greens and clean them, because when I clean them, I clean leaf by leaf, and that really takes a lot of my time. By the time I get through cleaning greens, I put them in, cut them up nicely and put them in the pot. I'm too tired to eat them until later. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, well, when my mother was raising us, if you don't train the oldest one, to kind of help you along, and then still you're gonna have a problem, because the problem is you're training your oldest child to assist you with your responsibility. It's not their responsibility. They didn't have any kids, but people did the best they could do. They're doing the best, and I know a lot of times, like I said, the book that I was telling you about was where it made me aware that the things that we're accusing other people are, we of ourselves are guilty of the very thing, whatever it is. We don't always see it in ourselves. We can only see it when the next person, because, for some reason, we're all gods, to some level. And so, therefore, by us being gods, we have no fault, so we are not guilty of anything. Only the next man is guilty of something, If I mess my hair and look messy, like sometimes I do on purpose, just to show that, I know that I'm a body, and that, I shouldn't make all of that out of myself, which I do love looking beautiful like everyone else. But, what I was saying is, no matter what we do or think, we kind of exclude ourselves from the bad stuff, because we just don't see ourselves that badly. And that's okay, because if we can be too much on ourselves, we can lift ourselves up too high, and we can lift ourselves too low. We have to have a happy medium here. And so, as I was saying, usually I have so many things going through my head, and I get off track sometimes. And a lot of times I'm talking to people and I don't even get off track. But, when you're doing a video and you don't write the stuff out and you just kind of going, and you got a lot of things you want to do, you're trying to get this together, and then you got other stuff that you want to work on too. But my main thing is I want to make sure that people understand this. If there's no structure in the house, if you don't have a plan, this is how we, now don't get me wrong. I have planned so many times, and that plan just went to, my plans did not, they did not work. I've had plans where they just did not work. And I thought to myself, man, all of these wonderful plans I got. And then when I start trying to implement them, they don't come out good. But the thing about it is, I had one. I'll have one. Then I will do another plan B and a plan C. That's how I have, but I was doing it not really being conscious of it, because I didn't write it down. So when you're talking about a family structure, and that person has to go, the parent has to provide for the children. Many people don't really, see, long time ago there was nuclear families. The grandparents were retired, so they didn't mind seeing about the children and helping and assisting. But somewhere along the way, that kind of got messed up too. Excuse me, I had some good old black walnut ice cream, and the walnuts are still hanging around. Get away, walnuts! We're done with you. Okay, and they were delicious. So it was delicious. But anyway, as I was saying, the older people could, that was when families worked together. But somewhere along the way we got to where, like, this, all I can tell you is this here: older people who know how to mind their business. I'm an older person, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't mind my business as well as I would like to, because I'm like, well, what'd you do that for? And did they? Uh-huh. Well, honey, I can't tell. Don't tell me no more. I'm about to get mad here. And because if it was me, I would tell you, I would do this. And I don't you do that, And so now we're not minding our business. And minding your business is tough. But those, the good older people who know how to not be too quiet, not be too nosy, but wise enough to intercede, or wise enough to interject stuff without disrupting the whole system program of the family. You understand what I'm saying? So when there is the older group, sharing in the load, the workload, because, like when it comes to little bitty babies, they're whining, whiny, and hauling and peeing all on themselves all the time. And that is not the most desirable thing for anybody, and especially us who think we're glamorous girls, glamorous men, and all of this, that when we get older, oh, look, I'm not doing no doggone babysitting. Look, I help you a little bit while you was trying to go do that job. Now it's time for me to go party, I got a party, I raised you, and we didn't really do no good raising. And as my sister say, now they want a reward or some accolade for doing nothing. But this is not to put anyone down. This is to encourage you. This is to encourage you, that to understand the family, function system. See, we have these latchkey children, which are children that, in the state of Missouri, for as I understand, I've been told that, that a sibling that is younger, like 11, can look after their children and stuff. And back in the day, some of us looked after kids when we were just children ourselves. I remember looking after my two little sisters, and I was just 8. Now, what in the devil do an 8 or 9-year-old know? We got some parents that's grown, 20 some, 40, 30, don't know what to do. Now, what in the world an 8-year-old do? And so, accidentally, I was trying to cook us something to eat, and accidentally the pipe came out of the stove, and the fire, and it lit a fire. Now, let me just show you how a child don't always know, because if you don't train them well, they just won't know. This comes up over into adulthood. As they become grown, they have the knowledge that we have, that the parents had put into them. But if the parent was so busy, they couldn't really, now see, like I said, I was there trying to cook for them because there were 2 others that were under me, but those 2 was, they could roam the streets, roam the neighborhoods, and, friends, because we were like, there was a lot of people that we, in the holler where I grew up at, and, we was just a big family, everybody was, but, everybody was kind of free and independent, like, being in the, jungle or something, just a place where people could do what they want to, a village like that, no, but not really, because the old people was always watching us and stuff, so whatever we wanted to do had to be kind of in the back, what I'm saying, head around the house or something like that. But for the most part, everybody's watching everybody. So mother maybe never sit down really and try to explain it to us, because a lot of times I remember my mother saying, y'all need to get up and clean house. And I thought to myself, as I got older, mother never said, okay, babies, this is what we're going to do today. And I'm going to show you all how to do this. I'm going to show you how to clean this and how I want it done. And this is the way I expect you to do it. Now you can't just do that one time. You got to do that 10, 15 times, make sure they get it because, habit makes, a good practice, a good practice makes habits, good habit, so you can do it the right way each time once you have learned it the right way. So this blame game that we play on one another, the woman this, the man that, let me tell you something. If they got eyes, they got nose, they got mouth, they got ears, they got all these other things that the human body got, they are guilty of anything under the sun. We all are. There's, we would love to think, like, I might have a habit of just using profanity. Somebody else might have a habit of using crack. Someone else may have a habit of using Delaware wine. I don't think they have it. I don't think they have that one anymore. That was what we call the rot gut wine. Because it was cheap, and it could just give you a rot inside. But all jokes aside, we can't say that we're so much better because one habit is better than another. Because somebody might have a habit of thinking that, well, they can't, do what we can do. We had a little more money and we can do this and it. That does not make me better than you because I got $2 more than you or $5 more than you. It makes me worse when I don't share it and lie like I do. Now you really got trouble there, baby. Okay? And then wanting to look good in your sight. Baby, you ask me. And if you come to me with the right attitude, I'm gonna tell you the truth. And you be careful that you say to me, well, you do everything right. You might get a hell no. No, I do not. So, but I have a good desire. I have a determination. And that's the thing that counts, because like many of us coming up in those neighborhoods back in those days that I'm telling you about, when families were raising their children, some of the old people would try to coach us and tell us the things that, we should do to be a better citizen, to be a more productive person. And I was one, I had to listen to them because I had been reared in the North and I had an accent, a northern accent where we can't stand people that, speak too properly. And so they were picking on me when I got back down to the South. So I had to really listen to the old folks. Yeah, good, child. I'm telling you. And I said, yeah, good, child. I'm telling you. I didn't mark them, so I could get the Southern accent. Now I have a cross between the Southern and the Northern dialect because I had a really, really Northern dialect, and people did not like it, Oh, she thinks she's this Miss America. I can't tell you all the Marilyn Monroes, Miss America, Miss Universe, and all the things that I've been called. You know what? And I'm going to claim some of that. Miss Beauty Queen, I think I'll claim that. And Miss America, I think I will claim. But Miss African America, yes, I think I'll claim it. But anyways, back to the, we have to laugh to keep from crying. I could tell you something, but I'm not going to do that. I'm trying to stay on the subject. Do you mind if I stop myself and tell you this and just hold that thought that we are talking about the family? I had some appointments with my physicians and different ones, and I've been scribbling stuff down on all kinds of paper, right? And they'll call me and say, okay. You have an appointment this and that time and with so-and-so. I said, oh, yes, I got that. And I'm just writing it down. And they'll say, and be there so-and-so. I said, okay, yes, sure. Then somebody else called, I do the same thing. Then when time comes, I put all that paper different places and didn't have no organized way to do stuff. And so when I called my nurse, I was laughing so hard. And so she could feel my frustration because sometimes I laugh extremely hard when I'm most frustrated. I said, lady, I don't know where I'm supposed to go and who I'm supposed to talk to or anything because I wrote everything. I wrote everything down on all kinds of paper around the house and don't know which paper was what. And I thought it was him. I'm sorry. I know you want me to stick to the subject and everything, but you know how I am. So let's get back to the family. So I laughed so hard. She called me right back and got me straight. So now I realize that I need a little book to keep, everybody. Now I put in there, even if I got to go and look at a flower tree, I have put that down in this book, an appointment book. I have a book now. It's not an appointment book, but it's just a little tablet where I can keep up with everything that I'm supposed to do. Now, back to what I was saying about the family. So, some of us were able to get some tips from the older people. So we were able to do a little better. But some people was like, oh, I ain't got time for this here. They got to go read the Harlequin book. Well, the Harlequin book was a book where it had a lot of love stuff in it. And some of it was pretty, I don't know if anyone knows about the Harlequin books. You know that they have a lot of stuff in it that reveals a lot of stuff that, you need to be old enough to read those books. You need to be past 18, and then even then you might want to get permission from somebody or something. You know what I'm saying? The Most High, and I don't think you may not want to read it. But anyway, they were interesting though. They had some of them were very good because they were about people falling in love and all this different kind of stuff. But back to the point, and that is that when you have those children and you don't have money for babysitters, children ends up growing, you might have the latchkey on the inside where they do what they want to, but in our town they could roam around, so you don't just got the latchkey on the inside, you got the freedom on the outside, and that freedom could lead you to anywhere you want to go. You could pick up any kind of habits you want to pick up. So if you don't get anything from what I'm saying, you might want to make a note of this. Have a structured plan about a household. And this is mostly for these young people. They want these babies, but they don't really have no idea. They just know they're going to love them and rock them and give them something to eat. But they don't know that when you got somewhere to go in a hurry, and if you whether you got transportation or not do not have transportation, some places you can't take those babies with you. So now you need assistance. You need someone to help you. And people don't like to keep babies without money these days, and they want to know when you're going to come back and how long it's going to be. Now think about doing that 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 days out of a week, paying someone, and now you got to be careful what place you send them to be babysitted at too. This has always been, because that's a lot of people, children, you see my age, older and under, 10, 15, 20 years under, they have gone through some really rough things. They have been molested. They have been taken advantage of and just been taught some stuff that just is not right. So whenever you think about having babies, there's more than just loving the baby, holding the baby, putting milk in the baby's mouth, what I'm saying, getting milk to them, putting diapers on them, changing those diapers and, cleaning the poo-poo and stuff. It's more to it than that. There's see, one of the things I have just learned, and I know math was kind of important, but many of us, especially as Afro-Americans, we are not real good at math. I mean, we were in ancient days, what I'm saying, but since we've been over here in America, everything is built upon mathematical formulas and stuff. And when you don't know this and you bypass that and we try to do everything else, even when I'm playing the piano here, this is you could put it in a mathematical scale. Number 5, number 6 of the number 7, number 8 of the notes. So that's another thing too. If you don't get but two things, one is have a structured way to raise your family. Have some plan of how you're going to do everything, how you're going to provide for yourself, how you're going to provide for that kid, or who are going to be the most trusted people that you can trust to leave them with. What are you going to pay them? What arrangements that you will make? All of this is important. And once we get to understand this and take this serious, we will stop having babies by everybody, 10 different men, 10 different babies. We'll stop that. We'll stop that foolishness. And this doesn't mean that there is not good men out there too, because we all are struggling with something, and this is one thing we must remember, that we only as good as we know how to be. And some people, we look at them, and I'm telling you, I know someone right here in this town, in my neighborhood, and I say to myself, oh, I don't know what's going to happen to this child. This child seems horrible, cussing and everything else worse than me, And it ain't nice, I don't care who does it. It is not nice to be using profanity. And that one of the children, he is doing so well. Even some of the ones that I did when I was teaching sixth grade, some of them I thought, oh, what are they going to do? But I did my very best to instill some good stuff in them, like being a man of the, getting a job, respecting your neighbors, respecting the people who sit across you or live across from you, treat them with respect, take care of your house. If somebody come by there, put paper out in your yard, that's your yard. They shouldn't have done it, but you the one got to. I can't tell you the times that a house that I bought in Little Rock, and all the times I had to pick up paper out there in the yard, and I thought, this is just not fair. I'm not putting all this paper here, and my gluteus max was getting good exercise, almost study bending and picking up stuff with somebody wanted, and I put a sign up there one time, don't leave any paper in my yard unless it's green and got some of the dead presidents on it. That's the only paper I want you. Don't be putting this other paper that I got to throw away. Put the paper that I can spin in my yard if you want to put paper in my yard. And I don't think anybody paid me any attention, though. So some people have fences and still, people find a way to get a little paper in there, in their yard. But I'm saying this, that the family unit without a structure is only what people can know to do. Some people were a little bit endowed with a little bit more knowledge, a few more little more blessings. And what I'm saying, is that if they don't know, no one has ever taught them, those people are suffering too. Because all the people I know want to be happy. Everyone I know wants some good things, and I don't care how lousy and bad they may seem, the thing of it is for us not to get ourselves too caught up into that, because a lot of times that stuff is inside of us and we don't even know it. So when we get to arguing and fussing and talking, and saying things that doesn't benefit people, there's something in us too. So you see, like I said, I cannot say because my habit may be a bingo, too much of bingo, or your habit may be too much of bingo, and mine may be too much Missouri Lotto, but I hope not anymore. No, I hope not anymore, because sometimes you got to, know when enough is enough, when you're doing something that's not going to benefit you. So whenever we are making judgments about any people, and this goes double for me. Anything I tell you on whoever is listening, the listening people audience who pays some attention to what I'm saying, whatever I tell you, I tell me. Because one thing that I do know, the Bible who teaches us this here, teacher, teach yourself. Preacher, preach to yourself, And many times, that requires us to be very, very, or honest to ourselves. Deep, we have to look deep, because a lot of my teachers were just excellent black teachers, and they taught me things like that. Look deep in yourself and be fair and be honest, And I try, because sometimes it's easy to pretend like we're somebody else when we're trying to get something off on others. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, it's better me than them, or you just don't want to see the real truth, the real deal. So I know sometimes I have a tendency to go over and over and say the same thing over and over, but that is, teaching uh, continuously so that someone can hear and understand and re-saying and restating in different ways. And so I'm going to sum it up with people in the olden days did the best that they could, and we are a product of those people. Not when I say we, I am, as everyone knows that I am 66 years old or older. Well, if I'm older, it would only be 1 year older. But so they know that people in my age group range, 10 years down, 10 years up, and even back down further, you know, that when we were coming up, the parents could trust the children a little bit more to leave, then, now sometimes you don't know what's going on because the TV is babysitting children and teaching them things, and they are in, because I mean, I know one cartoon that cusses more than I cuss when I get angry, and that's something that I had, one of the, one of my weak points that I have had to adjust and still working on, and that TV did curse more than me. It's a cartoon. And one time I heard the little fella cussing so much, and I said, "No, I cannot believe this." So what I'm saying is, we need to pray, and if we're young parents or older parents or whoever we are, we need to have a strategy for how we're going to raise our children. And I know this is not about raising our children; it's about where the generational people come from along in my age now. The folks that people are saying that they can't get along with the man can't get along with the woman wants this, the man wants that. They all want things. And we're all guilty of something at one time or another. And not only that, the very thing we think we wouldn't do is what we find ourselves doing. We will be doing things that we didn't even think we will do, and we only see it when our time comes. Because, see, as my teacher, Dr. Trice, used to say, my health teacher at the University of Little Rock, she says that, when a fish is acting crazy, the other fishes probably say, "Oh, look at that silly fish carrying on, that's foolish, making a fool out of himself." And they don't see the hook in the fish's mouth. They don't see that fish is trying to get off that hook that's stuck inside, that's hurting him, that's tearing him up. And that is what's going on with our people. Not just our people, there are other people of all different races. But my concern is more with me, in my house. Because if you can't get your own house in order, what you're doing over there messing with your neighbor's house. You know what I'm saying? Yours is, and that's the reason why now I ain't cleaning up other folks' houses as much as I used to, because mine needs to cleaning more, you see. So if we can't get our own house in order, there's no sense in skipping to Lou, my darling, with the ones that got more problems than you, or as much problem as you have. You know what I'm saying? We need to be working in our own people. We need to be working with our own people. Now that does not mean that we do not respect everyone and love everyone, because we really do need each other no matter who we are. But for me to not love my family and my people and give them some care and try to help them get through these things here, and jump over here and try to help everybody else, every nationality, every group of people, and not help myself and my family and me, make me totally last, make them completely last, like they are insignificant and everyone else is more important. Are you crazy? That's crazy stuff. That is crazy stuff. If God give you a baby to raise and you leave that baby at home, don't care who's seeing about him, don't care whether that baby's took care of right, and go over there and you can't do nothing for every time you turn around you got the neighbor's baby. Something is wrong there. And that goes for the man, the woman, the colors. I don't care who you are. If you can't see about yours and you trying to worry about mine all the time or somebody else's all the time, something is wrong with the picture there. I hope we are understanding this, and I'm not trying to be the authoritarian or the boss or whatever, but I'm just laying out what, the Most High gives to me. And I have to share, because if I don't teach somebody, I'll have to stand up and teach a light bulb or teach the floor or teach the wall or teach the dresser, because it's in my soul. I have to do it. You understand? I love you. I appreciate you for listening. And this is about family unit and structures, and how how we got to where we are now, and how we unraveled is to start looking at ourselves and seeing how can we turn this around. How can we turn around what we learned? We didn't know as much about math. Now we got to get math all together. Math has got to be our main priority now, because that's the one that can, show you how to build something. That's the one that can show us how to move out of this area, because if you can't calculate money, you can't figure out how you're going to do this part and do that part, then you'll throw your money away and you won't accomplish anything. You won't have no business. You won't be able to pay the bills. And now, we'll put ourselves in a different, we're already in kind of a poverty level as it is. And we want to get out of that, And then the next thing is to spend the time with the family. I don't care how much it hurt. Ask the Lord to give you the strength to teach the children, and ask Him to give you something to teach them. Because sometimes you don't know much, but one thing about those older people back in the day, they taught us what they knew. They taught us what they had, and they was very generous with it. But, without a strategy of how you're going to raise a child, and like I said before in one of the other videos, you can teach children. There was a book they had, My Baby Can Read. They would put a word on this card. If this was a card in my hand here, on this card may have apple, and then you might have the real apple here in this hand here, or you may just hold the apple up and say apple. But usually if you put them together, they can understand it better. You got an apple in his hand over here, card on this word right here. They already know what apple is, because they eat it. And even if they just 2, 3, 4, 5 months, they will know that this is an apple, and they will learn to recognize apple in your hand. This is with little bitty people, you understand? And we can do this, but we have to put forth some effort, and we got to stop. It's so hard for us not to make it fun of each other, because this is just a habit that we have. And it's so hard for us not to say things about one another that we shouldn't say, because that's a habit too. But we can break it. We can break the habit of being ourselves, as Joe Dispensel says. We can break the habit of being ourselves. And may the Lord give us strength to do this, because we need to create a better self than the self that, I've been used to, and I ain't going to change my ways. It has not got us where we need to go. So we got to change our ways. This is tough. This is tough for all of us. We're all having a tough time these days here. From the big macho to the little chancho, we all having, I guess I'm trying to get some of Snoop Dogg stuff. Can't do it like him, though. No, can't go that way. And, because we all make our choices. And, and I respect everybody and everything, because all of it is here for a reason. And that's how we got to get. Because once we pray and we have that true love in our heart, things will change. And things are changing. We got to change it. God bless you, everyone. Thank you again for listening. And happy changes and happy planning for you. I will be praying for you. I am praying for you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.